Muy buenas a todos, soy Mariatxi y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de Raven Remastered. Hemos inspeccionado y hemos hablado con todo el mundo por aquí y tenemos que seguir. Debería hablar con el guionista, creo, que no sé dónde está. Y lo que voy a hacer es bajar a hablar con el inspector para enseñar esos plumones que encontré y a ver si me da alguna otra pista.
Come in. Constable?
About the tranquilizer.
Who gave you the glass of champagne?
It was Captain de Conti.
You're sure?
He doesn't deny it, but he also says that the glasses passed through many hands that night and that everyone had access to the champagne.
So it could have been anyone.
Maybe the question isn't who put the poison in the glass, but rather who it was they wanted to poison.
Smart. And who were they trying to poison?
Dr. Gebhardt? The captain got the glass from him.
An unconscious ship's doctor. That sounds like it would be more use to a murderer than a drugged constable.
You think so? Did the murderer have reason to assume that his shot might not kill the victim immediately and that Dr. Gebhardt would be able to save her?
You're right. That's improbable. My ego is just searching for reasons for them to want to kill her and not me. Good job, Zelna.
I found feathers in the Baroness's cabin.
Really?
Some were under the Baroness's bed, others were in a vase next to the door.
I hope this is leading up to some information that justifies this interruption.
Some of the feathers are singed.
Show me.
Bien.
Well, you may have something here.
I think that someone fired a shot through a pillow or something like that, and the muzzle flash scorched the down.
Yes, possible. Try to find the pillow and we'll take it from there.
I took a closer look at the blood spot from the Baroness's bed.
Yes, what's wrong with it?
It looks odd.
Odd?
I think it should be darker.
I understand. The iron in blood causes it to darken the longer it's exposed to the air.
Right. And
we don't have time to waste. Dr. Gebhardt, examine the body thoroughly. He would have noticed if anything was wrong.
And you trust Dr. Gebhardt completely?
I trust everyone as much as is advisable. There will be a complete autopsy in Cairo. Until then, the doctor is one of the few people on board who is not a suspect. You, him, the stowaway, Constable Oliver, and I all have alibis.
There are still enough suspects left. I was able to make the traces of a note on the Baroness's notepad legible. She wrote that a murderer is on board and that she'll unmask him. She asks the recipient to meet her in the saloon at 10 p.m. If we can find the recipient.
I was the recipient.
Monsieur?
When I entered my cabin last night, I found a message on the floor. Someone must have slipped it under the door.
Why didn't you say anything about it?
I didn't know that I was obliged to.
We are partners.
Not really. You're helping me out until we reach Cairo, because you somehow managed to remain on board.
But
I'll choose when and with whom I share information. You can accept that and continue assisting me, or you can spend the rest of the journey on a deck chair thinking about missed opportunities.
And none of this is by any chance related to the fact that the message doesn't suit your Raven theory. The Baroness knew the murderer from the past, and he was already a murderer when he boarded the ship. The Raven was always just a thief, not a murderer.
Careful, Constable. Are you accusing me of perverting the facts?
Of course not, monsieur.
Then let's get back to work. Good day, Constable.
I'll be in touch if I uncover more clues.
Very well.
Pues tengo que seguir buscando más cosas.
Dr. Gebhardt locked the door, and until I have good reason, I won't wake him up. Something tells me...
Vamos a mirar otra vez la habitación, la almohada que nos ha dicho que miremos. Es que no sé. Coger el cubito de hielo. No lo tengo nada claro. O sea, que se mira la almohada.
I don't care what Legrand and Dr. Gebhardt say. The blood spot looks strange, and I'd like to take a sample. Maybe I'll get the chance to analyze it.
¿Y cómo cojo?
I don't care what Legrand... Maybe... I don't care... Maybe... I don't care what... Small, even stones. Probably easier to handle on a ship than real soil.
Aquí hay algo que se me escapa. Vamos a mirar el jarrón, a ver.
Why were the down feathers tossed in the vase? Or is there anything else in there? Could work. There's something in there. Ah. Someone stuffed this in the vase.
¿Qué es?
Looks like it's been used to muffle a gunshot. If this isn't an important discovery, I don't know what is.
¿Pero qué es esto?
Legrand, here I come.
Almohada con marcas de quemadura.
Better not. The pillowcase is evidence. I shouldn't smear blood on it. The real question is...
Vamos a hablar otra vez con el inspector, ¿no? Para contar esta prueba.
A singed pillowcase is proof that there must have been a second gunshot. Inspector?
Can't you knock?
I didn't realize. I'm really...
I'm not getting anywhere. I'm going to question each passenger individually. Anyone without an airtight alibi will be checked for gunshot residue.
But, Inspector...
People trip up when you put pressure on them, Constable Zellner. The Raven is nervous. He's changed his methodology and become a murderer. I'll see it in his eyes. After you.
But, Inspector Legrand... We have no proof that the Raven and the murderer are the same person. Quite the opposite. The Baroness's message hints at the fact that she knew the murderer and that he'd killed before.
You may not know it, but I do. I will catch him with or without your help.
I don't believe it. What's gotten into him? Oh, well. It makes no sense to tell him about my theories if his opinion is already set. I need evidence. Or better yet, the murderer. I also need his lab if I'm going to get anywhere. I need to get in there somehow. And I really need to talk to the stowaway. He may have information, and the inspector will just ignore him, since he's too young to be the Raven.
Se mira la puerta, vamos a ver.
Legrand locked the door. The lock isn't especially secure. If I had a wire or something like that, I could probably...
Bueno, encontré un cable, pues. Un alzo, encontré algo para poder abrirla. Vale.
The death of his mistress doesn't really bother Inch. He's only worried about his own future.
Oh, el guionista.
Mr. Kreutzer, come on, you have to give me a bit more. You're the only one who was on the train and who has no alibi for last night.
As I said, I was in my cabin.
Are you sure that it was your cabin and not the Baroness's?
Legrand will question the guests, one after another. But if he doesn't get the answers that he wants to hear, it could become unpleasant for them. Mr. Kreutzer clearly feels uneasy. But does Legrand actually think he's the Raven?
Un café.
Excellent.
Un café.
That's just what I needed.
Ya tuvo un café, sí.
English ham and eggs. One advantage on an international trip is the international breakfast. Many of my fellow countrymen think it's outrageous to eat fried bacon, sausages, or anything heavy for breakfast. I, on the other hand, think ham and eggs are the only worthwhile contribution the English have made to international cuisine. It's not fair. There's a magnificent buffet, but I don't have an appetite. Maybe a side effect of the tranquilizer.
Bueno, ¿qué se va a hacer? Vamos a ir dando vueltas. A ver, la señora, yo he hablado con
Lady
ella.
Westmacott, may I bother you for a moment?
By all means, Mr. Zellner.
How is the questioning going?
Are you implying that I'm an eavesdropper? The inspector is placing a lot of pressure on our dear Mr. Kreutzer. He's the only one who was on the train and who doesn't have an alibi for last night.
Perhaps. But him? A murderer?
I know people like him. He doesn't have enough backbone to kill someone in cold blood and remain so calm. He'd turn it into a drama and then a farce. Drink himself insensible, and then, railing at fate, pitch himself into the sea. Forget him. Legrand is wasting his time. Mr. Kreutzer just happens to be a perfect fit for the inspector's image of the Raven.
Athletic, cultured, moves among the rich and famous.
I'll eat his violin if he's the Raven or the murderer.
I have to be going, Lady Westmacott.
Please keep me informed, Constable Zellner.
Of course.
Hostia, con la mujerilla.
Mr. Kreutzer. Legrand is absorbed in the interrogation. He still seems pretty annoyed. The violinist seems to be bearing the brunt of it.
Bueno, entonces no puedo hablar. ¿Qué se va a hacer? Vamos a ver, capitán. Ahí está ahí la colega, vale.
Captain DeConti seems old and tired. The price you pay for a life like his, I suppose. I'm sure Captain DeConti wouldn't mind a chat, but I don't think he can help me at the moment.
Esta no he podido hablar con ella.
Miss Mayers seems to have found an opportunity to do nothing. Hello, Miss Mayers.
En caso. Ah,
Hello, Mr.
Constable Zellner. Do you think it's appropriate to go sunbathing in a situation like this?
What situation?
A woman was murdered last night.
If refusing to sunbathe could bring the dead back to life, I'd go back to my cabin immediately.
Did you hear or see anything suspicious last night?
No, I didn't feel very well last night. I went to bed early.
So, you're feeling better this morning?
Thanks for asking.
I'm sure your parents are truly sorry that they can't be with you at this difficult time.
Maybe. But I'm not a little girl anymore. And thinking about my fiancé keeps me going.
You're engaged?
Yes. My boyfriend and I got engaged right before the trip. I want to surprise my parents, especially my dad.
I'm sure he'll be very surprised. But what will you do if your father doesn't agree to the engagement?
What choice does he have when he put me on this boat full of thieves and murderers in the first place?
Charming. Enjoy the sun, Miss Mayers, and don't let us disturb you.
If you're trying to make me feel guilty, Constable, it's not working.
Vamos a seguir dando vueltas. A ver si encontramos algo más. Pero no lo tengo muy claro. ¿Podéis seguir aquí? Ah, mira, el niño. Bueno, vamos a hablar con el niño.
Matt is keeping himself busy with that strange game. He seems to be okay again, but I think he'd be running around all over the place if he'd really come to terms with what happened on the train. Hello there, partner.
Hi.
Are you all right?
Uh-huh.
Have you recovered from our adventure?
Mm-hmm. Mr. Zellner.
Hmm?
What's going on?
What do you mean?
Everybody's acting so strange. And there's tape across that door. I saw that in a movie once.
You don't have to be worried.
Is it about the man from the train?
It might be about the thief, yes.
Haven't you caught him yet?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I heard you and your mom used to argue a lot.
We did. Everything was bad. The house, school, the other kids. We didn't have much money, and I was always alone.
You do know that your mother would love to have been with you, don't you? She had to go out to work to earn money.
She wouldn't have had to, if Dad were still around.
And how do you get along with her now?
I'm always happy when we do something together on vacation. She has more time for me now, and I like my boarding school. I have lots of friends, and the teachers aren't so bad.
Your mother and Professor Lucien seem to be on very good terms with each other. Don't you like him?
Don't know.
He seems to be very nice.
I guess.
Lady Westmacott is all by herself in the saloon. Maybe you'd like to visit her later.
Sure, the lady tells exciting stories.
I know. She's my favorite writer.
She told me that it's not much fun to write detective novels. She'd rather write something else, but her fans always want the same thing.
They made her rich and famous.
I told her to write what she wants to write. If it's good, someone will buy it. And if not, at least she had fun writing it. Then she smiled and nodded. She said it was a good idea.
What are you playing there?
I'm playing shuffleboard. At least I'm trying to.
Never played it before.
It's easy. Professor Lucien explained it to me.
And who won?
We didn't play.
You didn't want to play with him, did you? Do you want to play a game with me?
Sure.
Bueno, vamos a echar una partida.
I think you'll have to explain the rules to me first.
Okay, you play with the blue pucks and I play with the red ones. You have to push the pucks with this stick into the zone over there and score as many points as possible.
Sounds easy. How many pucks do I have?
6. Now here comes the kicker. First it's your turn, then mine, and so on. But everyone is allowed to shoot the other person's pucks out of the zone.
Then let's get started.
Bueno, vamos a
Oh
comentar.
yeah. What are we playing for?
I thought we'd just play for fun.
That's boring. We have to bet something. Otherwise it isn't fun.
You English people.
So I'll bet my brand new slingshot. And you?
I don't want to gamble.
How about ice cream in Cairo?
Okay. If I win, I get the slingshot. If I lose, I get an ice cream.
Bueno, voy a conseguir un tirachina, me parece. Y tengo la piedra, con lo cual igual puedo reventar la botella para que este se vaya.
Never try to cheat Matt Miller. So, what do you say? Ice cream versus slingshot?
All right. Let the games begin.
¿Podrían explicar cómo funciona? Ah. Vale. Son 6. Bien, pues llevamos 3. Mira, tengo un 10. Eso hice la teoría, vamos. Un 1, muy bien. ¡Oh! ¡My God! Vaya fallo. De menos 10 y menos 9 igual. Ah, es menos 10. Anda, es menos 10. ¡Hola! No sé por qué me da cuenta que jugar otra partidilla. ¡Ostras! Sí que se desliza. Ha andado bien de cera. ¡Hola! Le doy un helado. Parece que va a tener que echar otra.
Haha, I win. That's one ice cream for me.
You've been practicing. This time I'll win.
Nah, I doubt that.
Qué poco, tío. Antes se me ha ido bien lejos. Venga, va. Esa es buena. Bueno, un 4. No está mal. ¿Y eso? ¡Toma! Jugada maestra ahí. Sí, sí. ¿Y ese qué es? Ahí está entre Pito y Valdeboro. Esa no cuenta, ¿eh? No me cuenta nada. Toma, otro menos 10. Esta vez hemos ganado. Toma, otro 7. 38, supera eso. A ver, una vez que van a todos. Vale, ya está. Me llevo un tirachinas. Que no viene mal.
Oh, man.
The athlete wins the day.
One more time.
No, that's enough for me.
All right. Here,
Are you sure?
gambling debts are debts of honor.
I'll give it back to you when I don't need it anymore, okay?
Okay, but make sure my mom doesn't catch you with it. She thinks it's dangerous.
Vamos a ver qué dicen de estas dos. Y luego voy a intentar lanzar las piedras a la botella. A ver si me la cargo.
Miss Miller and the professor are talking intensely. She seems pretty relaxed, by her standards. Miss Miller and the professor... Good morning, Miss Miller. Professor Lucien?
Constable Zellner, how are you? I heard you passed out last night.
Well, not quite. I was poisoned.
Oh.
That wretch!
Who do you mean by that wretch?
That stowaway! That new Raven!
The young man can't be the murderer. Constable Oliver had already apprehended him when the shot was fired.
You mean...
Whoever killed the Baroness is still on the loose.
Ay, metiendo presión.
I think I should take my leave. I'd like to rest for a while.
One last question, Professor.
Sospechoso.
Do you think the eye is well protected in the safe in Legrand's cabin?
Of course it is. They assured me that it would take hours of work with heavy machinery to crack the safe. And if Legrand isn't in his cabin, Constable Oliver or I check that everything is in order every hour.
I understand.
I want to go back to my cabin. I'll see you later, Mary.
Oh, of course. See you later.
Vamos a con ella.
I didn't want to interrupt your conversation with Professor Lucien so abruptly.
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Learning that there's still a burglar on board seemed to frighten him.
He was so relaxed the whole time, and then...
And then the stupid Swiss constable came by and made him anxious.
Oh, I didn't mean that.
No matter. I'm sure he'll calm down and come back soon enough. May I ask you a few questions?
Of course.
How is Matt? He seems happy enough.
After all the commotion, he's already back to his old self again. But I haven't told him about the murder. That would be a bit too much for him.
I think he's made of sterner stuff.
I want to thank you again for what you did on the train. I wouldn't have known...
Everything's fine. Think nothing of it. How was last night for you?
It was awful. I was having a conversation with Edgar, Professor Lucien, here on the forecastle. Then I wanted to look for the lady and went forward via the side deck. When I passed the Baroness's cabin, I heard a muffled scream.
You heard a scream?
Yes. I thought the Baroness probably had a fall. I went to the door and listened for a moment. Since I couldn't hear anything, I knocked on the door and asked whether she was all right. There was no answer.
Interesting. And then?
I didn't know what to do, so I tried to open the door. It was locked. I saw the Baroness's butler, Mr. Inch, on the forecastle. I thought he might have the key and went back. On the way, the bobby crossed my path, and then Edgar, who wanted to check the safe. I explained the situation to him, and then the alarm went off.
How did the scream sound?
It was a short outcry, very frightened, as if someone had been startled.
Was it a woman's voice?
Yes, the voice was high.
So it could have been a scream from the Baroness. Possibly because she discovered someone in her cabin.
Possibly.
That person might have threatened her with a weapon, so that she wouldn't scream for help.
Oh, God.
He waited until the coast was clear.
Oh, please, stop it, Mr. Zellner.
The Baroness's butler said that he was on the forecastle as well?
Yes, he was standing on the other side of the deck smoking a cigarette.
Was he on the forecastle the whole time?
I'm not sure. He was there, and later he was on the side deck with us. Oh, yes, he looked after you while you were unconscious. He unbuttoned your collar and held your head while the doctor checked you.
But you can't say for certain whether he came from the forecastle with you and Professor Lucien, or afterwards.
Well, no. But where else could he have come from?
Did you report that to Inspector Legrand?
Yes, last night. He was very interested and took a lot of notes. But I wanted to look for Lady Westmacott, and he let me go without further delay. He said that he'd take down my full statement today.
I understand.
Do you think the man from the train also killed the Baroness, Constable Zellner?
I don't know yet.
It's horrible. Explosions, thieves, murderers. This isn't the right place for a lady and a little boy.
You and Professor Lucien seem to be having a lively conversation.
Oh, yes. He's an expert in ancient Egyptian art and preeminent in hieroglyphic research. He's the head of the Egyptian department in the British Museum, you know. And he's going to open an exhibition at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo.
Right. For the eye.
They had planned on exhibiting both jewels together for the first time in decades, but that's not going to happen now, sadly. I think it's quite upsetting for him.
We're working hard to ensure that at least one eye will be on display.
I know. I'll ask Lady Westmacott if she'd like to participate in the opening of the exhibition. I think it would be good for her.
And Professor Lucien will surely offer you a private tour. You're American, aren't you?
That's correct.
And you moved to England because of the job?
I lived in England before. During the Second World War, I volunteered. I worked in a pharmacy on a U.S. base north of London.
In a pharmacy? Interesting.
Well, it was the war and everyone was sent where they could help best.
Please, go on, Mrs. Miller.
After the war, I studied music in London. I met my husband there. We married and went back to the States together.
He was also American?
No, English. But he said he had problems with his family and he wanted to be as far from them as possible.
And you gave up your studies for him?
Well, yes, I did.
Life as a single mother couldn't have been easy.
It was pretty tough then. I worked from morning till night and it was still only enough for the bare necessities. and I couldn't give Matt all the attention he needed.
And then Lady Westmacott entered your life.
It was like an angel appeared to me. She must have offered me the position out of pity. I had no experience as a carer. She made me a generous offer. I couldn't believe it. And she really adores Matt. She's offered him a good education, and now he has every opportunity in life.
An almost unbelievable story.
I'm still afraid that it's a dream and that I'll wake up one day.
How does it feel to work for such a world-famous
Menudo
person?
interrogatorio,
Work
tío.
is very interesting and varied, and it pays well too.
You are very lucky that the lady offered the position to you.
I just hope she won't change her mind one day. What would become of Matt's education then? I really make an effort to measure up to Lady Westmacott's expectations, but sometimes I feel like I fall short.
Lady Westmacott couldn't ask for a better companion.
I'm saving up as much money as I can all the same. I'd do anything so that Matt doesn't have to give up his new life.
Lady Westmacott dropped a hint on the train that she killed her hero, Partout. What did she mean by that?
Oh, she must have meant the manuscript.
Manuscript?
She always takes it with her. It's an unpublished Partout novel. I once asked her why she never published it. She said that according to her will, the novel's only to be published after her death.
And in it, Partout will be killed?
Maybe. I've never read it. No one has. You'd better ask her yourself.
If
Venga,
you
pues
worked in a
vamos.
pharmacy, you would certainly know something about medicines and poisons.
Everything is a potential poison, Constable. It depends on the dose.
Have you ever heard of chloral hydrate?
It's a tranquilizer, isn't it?
I'm asking you.
Lady Westmacott also asked questions like that, for her last novel. But since I've never wanted to kill anyone, I never bothered with things like strychnine and arsenic and all that. I could recommend something for a headache, a sore throat, or rash.
That's kind of you, but there's really no need. I'll be seeing you, Miss Miller.
Constable?
Bueno, pues muy bien, hemos interrogado a casi todo el mundo, así que vamos a dejar el capítulo aquí. Yo creo que lo siguiente que tenemos que hacer es con el tirachinas reventar la botella, pero lo probaremos en el próximo capítulo. Ya sabéis, un buen like, un buen comentario, seguiremos con este de Raven. Sed buenos, nos vemos.